President Barack Obama has said today that there has been use of chemical weapons in Syria. This is a big admission for a man who said he drew a red line against the Syrian regime using chemical weapons against the rebel enemies. However, he said they don't know why those weapons were used, who used them, and ultimately who was responsible for the attacks involved.
What I've said to my team is we've got to do everything we can to investigate and establish with some certainty what exactly has happened in Syria, what is happening in Syria. We will use all the assets and resources that we have at our disposal. We'll work with the neighboring countries to see whether we can establish a clear baseline of facts. And we've also called on the United Nations to investigate.
So that gives him a lot of wriggle room. He is basically saying that his next big decision on Syria has not yet come. Then he said, secondly, that there is no determination of what he would do if Syria did stage a chemical weapons attack, which was directly attributable to the government and which a lot of people were killed. He has said that he has a range of options, and tellingly, he says that he has asked the Pentagon for recommendations on how America could intervene in the event that Syria uses chemical weapons.
As early as last year, I asked the Pentagon, our military, our intelligence officials to prepare for me what options might be available. And I won't go into the details of what those options might be.
So we are a long way from military action now. Firstly, America does not have enough proof, the so-called chain of custody, to establish that the Damascus regime used chemical weapons. Secondly, it cannot say that it would get international support if it did intervene just on the basis of an incident where chemical weapons were used. So we have a situation where the Syrian regime is presumed to have used chemical weapons, but is not going to be tested, is not going to face consequences for doing so, because no one can prove that it did ultimately use it, no one can say why they used those weapons, and ultimately because not very many people died.